Everything you've been taught about success, power, and progress is a lie. Our entire world champions force, expansion, and relentless forward motion. But the universe itself operates on a hidden, far more powerful principle. And once you see it, you will understand why striving alone always fails, and why true power lies in a secret motion. Chapter 40 of the Tao Te Ching. The motion of the Tao is to return. The use of the Tao is to accept weakness. The 10,000 things under heaven are born from being. Being is born from non-being. This chapter is short, but it contains a seismic key to reality. Let's break it down phrase by phrase. First, the motion of the Tao is to return. This is the universe's secret rhythm. The Tao isn't a force of linear, aggressive conquest. It is a cyclical, centripetal force. Think of a breath. You must exhale. You must return the air before you can inhale again. Think of a wave. It gathers itself back onto the ocean before it can crash forward again. All of nature thrives on this rhythm of withdrawal and return, emptying and filling, release and rebirth. Action is always preceded by a period of non-action, of gathering, of turning inward. This return is not a failure or a retreat. It is the essential, generative pause that makes all-powerful action possible. Second, the use of the Tao is to accept weakness. This is perhaps the most misunderstood and radical idea. Weakness here, also translated as yielding or softness, is not about being a doormat. It's about strategic flexibility. Think of water. It is weak because it offers no rigid resistance, yet it can wear down the hardest stone. A bamboo stalk survives a hurricane by bending, accepting weakness, while the mighty oak tree that resists is snapped. The use of the Tao is to employ this yielding, adaptive, and receptive quality. It is a power of the empty vessel which is useful because, precisely, its emptiness. Finally, the 10,000 things are born from being. Being is born from non-being. This is the ultimate expression of this principle. All the things of the manifest world, you, me, trees, stars, emerge from a source, from being. But even that source, that being, emerges from the ultimate ground of all potential, non-being, the formless void, the silent mind, the empty space. This is not nothingness. It is a fertile darkness from which all existence springs. All creation begins in the void. This profound truth, that power emerges from yielding and from the formless echoes across cultures and centuries. In Toltec wisdom, the Toltec path teaches that true mastery begins with awareness and intent. In the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz emphasizes, don't take anything personally, a form of yielding that dissolves egoic reaction and returns us to clarity. The Toltec warrior does not fight the world. They dissolve illusion by returning to the silent observer within. Heraclitus declared, all things flow. His doctrine of logos reveals a cosmic order that moves through cycles of becoming and returning. He taught that resistance to change breeds suffering, while harmony comes from aligning with the eternal flux. Yielding to this flow is not weakness, it's wisdom. Modern physics, quantum field theory. In quantum theory, particles arise from the vacuum field, a formless sea of potential. What we perceive as solid emerges from emptiness. This mirrors the Tao's insight. Form is born from non-being. The most powerful forces, gravity, magnetism, consciousness, are invisible, yet they shape everything. Trauma-informed psychology, or somatic healing. Modern somatic practices like polyvagal theory and nervous system regulation teach that healing comes not from force, but from surrender. Safety, connection, and restoration emerge when we stop bracing against life and allow the body to return to its natural rhythm. Yielding becomes the gateway to resilience. How does this ancient secret free us from the modern trap? The system is built on the opposite: constant forward thrust, endless growth, and the denial of any form of weakness or retreat. The antidote? This philosophy is the ultimate antidote to burnout, cultural, and toxic consumerism. It reveals that the pressures to always be on, to always be producing and consuming, is a violation of a fundamental cosmic law. The search for outer salvation through more money, more status, more stuff is a linear, exhausting pursuit that ignores the necessary cycle of return. True power comes from the courage to be still, to yield, to rest, and to turn inward, to embrace the non-being phase of the cycle. Systems of control don't need to erase truth. They only need to distract from it. In a world engineered for noise, the most subversive act is stillness. A person rooted in inner clarity cannot be baited by fear, urgency, or the promise of external salvation. This kind of strength, quiet, self-sustaining, unshakable, is incompatible with economies built on anxiety and identities built on performance. When you yield, you exit the game. When you return to the root, you become unreadable to the machine. That's why this wisdom isn't banned, it's buried, not by force but by design, drowned in productivity culture, distorted by spiritual consumerism, and dismissed by institutions that thrive on your disconnection. To remember it is to become resilient. To live it is to become free. To embody the Tao is not to retreat from life, but to move with it, cyclically, consciously, and courageously. This isn't theory, it's practice, and it begins in the everyday. We honor the return when we pause before we push, when we let silence inform our next move, like the Toltec warrior who cultivates impeccability through awareness. We learn to act from stillness, not reaction. We yield with strength when we choose presence over dominance, in conflict, in conversation, in creation. As Heraclitus taught, the river flows not by force, but by surrendering to its nature. So too must we. We reclaim the formless when we strip away the excess, not to punish ourselves, but to remember what matters. A quiet space, a slow meal, a single breath can become portals to the unnameable source. And we build resilience not by grinding harder, but by designing lives that breathe. Communities that allow for ebb and flow, relationships that honor rest as much as action, movements that pulse, not burn out. This is how we return. This is how we remember. This is how we begin again, together and on purpose. So stop fighting the current. The secret to moving forward is not to push harder, but to first learn the power of returning. The universe's most fundamental motion is not a relentless charge, but a gentle, constant ebb and flow. Align with that, embrace the void, yield like water, and discover that all true strength is born from the courage to be soft, to be still, and to return to the source.